So we've worked together in the past quite a bit, and you were the first guy I thought of when it came to this very topic, which is how to test ideas that come out of a brainstorm. And you've been a part of a lot of these strategic initiatives here at Ramsey, a lot of great brainstorm meetings. You've led a lot of great brainstorm meetings. How do you know that an idea will resonate with your customer as you come up with these ideas?
Yeah. It actually starts with the brainstorm session. And so the first thing we do when we go in there is that we put the problem that we're trying to solve on the board, the customer problem. And so that really aligns everybody in the room about, around a common goal, and it keeps us from getting sidetracked on kind of those bad ideas that don't really help anything. And so it just kind of keeps us aligned. And then there's like a mindset shift that we have to make. We have to kind of figure out that, hey, we are usually not our customers. And so if we kind of go in there with like, hey, I have this idea to solve this problem, and, whether it's a product or a service or a piece of content, and, the rationale is like, well, I think we should do it because I want it, therefore they would want it. It's probably an opportunity to kind of check yourself and say, hey, are we thinking about the customer here? But once we've kind of said all of that and we're in there and we're brainstorming, the whole point here is to come up with ideas that is going to actually address the problem. And so what we're doing is we're coming up with hypotheses. Remember back from science class and the whole scientific method.
I got PTSD here, man.
Yeah, I know.
Go easy.
Yeah, and you thought you were done with it, but we brought it back. And so we're coming up with hypotheses to test, right, to kind of figure out how we can, inch into solving this problem. And we need to base those hypotheses based in something real, not just this gut feeling. Now, a lot of us have a really good gut feeling, and we've been spending a lot of time with the customer, and that's valid. I'm not saying it's like throw it out the door. But we need to really find the data that can really inform these hypotheses. And so what we're talking about is if you have a sales team, that's a great opportunity to chat with them to see, hey, what are the customers, complaining about? What are the opportunities? You can look at your website analytics and figure out, hey, where are people spending time? Where are they not spending time? And then you can do some competitive analysis to kind of go in there and see, what is the competition doing that maybe we're not doing? And it's not like, hey, just because they're doing it means that we need to do it. But all you're trying to do is gather some data to make an informed hypothesis to test so that we can solve the problem.
So that way, it's not just the strongest opinion in the room wins.
That's right.
It's we're going in with all this data,
Yeah.
and then we're looking at the board going, that's the problem we said we were solving, so this route makes the most sense.
Absolutely. For every idea, you need to ask, why is that an idea?
Ooh, that's good.
So
after you've got the meeting, you've got the idea, you've validated this, what's the next step before you take it to market? We're not quite ready yet. How do you know it's ready?
Yeah. You want to get it in front of a customer as soon as possible. And so what we're talking about here is we've used this term a lot, like minimal viable product or a skateboard. It's something that's just good enough to get out there so that you can get some real feedback on it. So, but what we're not doing is we're not doing this like final shiny product that's like that we spent a year on and saying like, hey, we made this thing. How do you like it? Because then we're setting ourselves up for failure, right? Because we haven't gotten any feedback. So again, we're getting something out there that's good enough to get some feedback on. And I found that this is probably the hardest thing for business owners to kind of come to grips with, because when it comes to interacting with customers, we all want to put our best foot forward. We want that thing to be really buttoned up and be proud of it before we show it to the customer. But that might not serve the customer. And so what I would, kind of challenge you to do is find that subgroup of your customers that are super fans, that are super users, and bring them in and kind of invite them to give some feedback on some of these ideas. And then you're entering into a partnership with some of your customers, which is a really cool thing. And that way, you start this process of like getting feedback, making the idea better, getting some more feedback, making the idea better. And that process never stops. If you ever get to this situation where you're like, okay, it's perfect, nobody touch it, then it's probably another red flag to say, hey, listen, we need to continue to iterate. This thing might go stale and our competition's going to catch us.
Yeah.
So you're getting that feedback from them. And if you're asking for feedback, you better be prepared for them to say, hey, listen, I don't really like this. This is not what I want. And that is like very valuable information, because that's going to save you a lot of heartache and a lot of money going out and doing something that they just don't want. So you go back to the drawing board, redefine the problem, and start the ideation process.
Yeah, it always hurts to have someone call your baby ugly.
It does indeed.
The truth hurts.
Yeah,
but we need it to move forward,
We
to
do.
improve,
Yep.
and to help our customers.
That's right.
That's awesome.
We're going to fail, but we're going to fail fast. and get the right thing.
Fail fast and often.
That's right.
And I've seen our team in the lobby here at Ramsey Solutions talking to visitors who big fans, talking about super fans, and they love being included in the process.
Oh my gosh, they love
feels
it.
so exclusive and cool. Like, wow, that's cool. You want my opinion, and it
Yeah.
actually shapes this product. And it's not perfect. They're just showing them something on an iPad or a laptop.
That's
going,
right.
well, what do you think about this? What would you change? And I love that kind of really getting integrated with the customer and not just getting in a room with people who aren't the customer to decide what the customer really wants.
Absolutely.